Hey everybody, welcome to the Gospel of Two Wheels. It's Morgan coming to you live from the Montrose Nobby Lobby here at Highland Cycles, and it is the Gospel of Two Wheels number 9. I think we've discussed that before. I'm not actually sure if this is number 9 or 8 or 10 or anyway. We're on schedule now, so it's going to be 9, 10 anyway. So today we are talking about Rekluse Clutches. I see my little sign has got a bunch of glare on it. Hey Matthew, Christopher, what's happening? So we're going to talk about auto clutches. We're going to talk about what they are. What up, Bryce? What they are, how they work, and then we'll probably get into a long discussion about whether you should or should not use an auto clutch. First and foremost, let's keep it on the up and up, everybody. Let's be nice and to each other. I know there's a lot of opinions about these. Yes, coffee first. Thank you. The Elliot Ruben, which I believe is actually Ruben Elliott. What's happening? It was great seeing you over in Taylor Park with my kids. Mini Javier is on. I see him right there. So yeah, we're going to talk about Rekluses. Let's just get started. Chandler Henry, what's happening, dude? Steve McEwen, yes, coffee. And I didn't get a donut today. Dang it. Anyway, that's a bummer. Steve, you want to bring me a donut? I'm kidding. So let's start with what a Rekluse is. Let's start there before we start arguing back and forth about whether or not you should use one. So a Rekluse clutch is basically an auto clutch. So it makes your motorcycle kind of like a CRF 50. So it'll just sit there and idle in gear and not move, and when you twist it goes. So basically the way it works, this is the newest, most recent version of the way a Rekluse works. It's called the expanding ring. This is the EXP. It's missing parts, so that's why. These are just extra plates, but I'm going to show you how it works. So basically what you do is you take your normal clutch out. Depending on the version you get, whether it's the Radius X, Radius CX, the old EXP 3.0 core, anyway, more or less this is the part that does the work. This is the part, the expensive part, the part they put all the design and effort into, is the expanding ring. Hey Harry Reynolds, what's happening? So the way it works is inside of here there are I can't put it together. There are weights that go inside and springs that hold it all together. And this goes in your clutch pack, drops in. You put your pressure plate on there, you bolt everything down, and then depending on whether you have a cable operated or, yes it is a centrifugal clutch, whether you have a cable operated or hydraulically operated clutch, you physically push the pressure plate out, okay? It pushes it out away from the rest of the clutch pack so that it's now slipping under normal conditions, which normally a clutch is not slipping when your hand is off the lever, it's engaged, right? So when you put a Rekluse in, it pushes the pressure plate out, so now it's just slipping when your hand's off the clutch. So that's why you can kick it down into gear and it'll sit there and idle. Now, what happens with this is that when it spins, when you gas it, it's actually always spinning, but when you gas it and it spins faster, the weights swing out, centrifugal, this is the centrifugal nature of it. The weights want to swing out away from the center of the spinning mass. They swing out and this gets wider. So it expands like that. And it takes up that distance between the pressure plate and the rest of the clutch. What up, Mwapa Henry, checking in. Your son's watching this chat. I don't know if you know that. So as the RPMs go up, this thing gets bigger this way. I mean, that's a massive exaggeration, but it gets bigger, takes up that space, and engages the clutch. And so that's basically how it works. I mean, that is how it works. And this, you know, it's got friction material around here on both sides. So this basically acts as a big fat friction plate, and when that expands, it grabs and goes. So that's how a Rekluse works. Now let's talk about, let's get your guys' responses and questions and things about what you think about these things. My personal belief is that Rekluse clutches are awesome for what they're built for. They're amazing pieces of equipment. I don't think they're cheating any more than electron carburetor or fuel injection for a four-stroke, or you know, all these other advances in technology. They're not cheating. It's just the way things are. You know, it's just advancements. Yeah, the tungsten. Javier has mentioned the tungsten ball. Oh boy, Corbin's on. The Corbin and Javier are now going to talk about donuts and Corbin's girlfriend. Johnny Lee, what's happening, man? So as the clutch gets older, what do you have to replace? Okay, yeah, good, Harry. As the clutch gets older, hey, Brian Christopherson, as any clutch, you'll have to replace plates, like friction plates, like with anything. But as far as this goes, there are the weights that go inside here, ride on these little ramps right here. It's hard to see, but anyway, they ride on these ramps, and the weights have little Teflon pads on them. They used to have little ball bearings and things like that, but they've upgraded. Now they all have these little Teflon pads that ride on these aluminum ramps. And you have to replace the Teflon pads every now and then. And if you put enough time on them and you're hard on clutches and things like that, you'll have to replace these too. Rekluse is actually really good. What's up, Scott Turner? Really good about making this affordable, because they could just charge you for a whole new expanding ring, which I think this, if you just bought it by itself, is $300 or something like that. With all the parts. But anyway, they do a really good job of keeping this affordable for you, for rebuilding. The Shane has tungsten balls. That's a bold statement, Shane. I think that if you're a normal trail rider, there we go, John Hill. Okay, I'm gonna get there. I think if you're a normal trail rider, you're gonna take a long time to wear out your Rekluse. Like maybe never. I don't know. I've seen guys go years and years and years without having to replace anything. So it really depends on your maintenance interval, like how often you're changing your oil, how hard you beat on it, and things like that. So if you're good at it, you're good. Too much gap. Okay, yeah. So burned it up with too much gap. So yeah, the adjustment. So John, how adjustable are they? They're super adjustable. You can adjust the distance that the pressure plate is out is one, so you can come out or in, so that changes the engagement. You can change the springs that go in here to be lighter or heavier, so it takes more or less RPM for it to engage. And you can change the weights out, like these guys are talking about tungsten balls. Sorry, I am a third grader at heart. That's now how you can adjust it. You can put heavier weights, which makes it swing out faster and engage harder, or lighter weights that makes it swing out later and engage softer. It's easy to adjust them, really. Yeah, it's super. If you're always in the right gear, they last forever. I agree completely. The Rekluse does not replace the need for ability. So that's one thing I'm going to say right now. If buying a Rekluse will purchase you some talent, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind it will buy you some talent, but you still, if you want to go fast and you want to ride the gnarly technical stuff quickly and fast and race and things like that, you still need to know how to use the clutch lever. That is one super huge thing that Rekluse has gotten better about in the last 5 years. Jeffrey Harper, what's happening? You're on. Is a hydraulic less wear and tear on them? No, I don't think the hydraulic makes too much of a difference. I would say that KTM clutches are stronger, and more durable, so they last longer because of that, but I don't think it has anything to do with the hydraulic nature of the release mechanism. But back to what I was saying, back in the old days with the Z-Start Pro and the old Recluses with the balls and all that stuff, I didn't like them at all. I couldn't stand Recluses back then. Yeah, Scott, correct. They do say to do that, and I agree with that. Although I have on the trail adjusted that because it's harder to adjust it's, you got to take things apart to change springs and weights. And I've had issues on the trail where something's not working quite right, and you can adjust the gap a little bit just on the side of the trail on a KTM with a thing. So Roy Moline, what's happening? The thing about the Rekluse now is that the way they have them set up, you can still use the clutch lever. It's not, but what I will say is it is not exactly like your normal clutch. People will argue with me. I'm sure we're going to get maybe some arguments about that, but the Rekluse, John Hatch, what's happening? The Rekluse clutch is not, they don't make one for an 0608. Cow, that's crazy. Garrett Anderson, Willie Watts, what's happening? Wow, Matt Larson, sweet, awesome. Rekluse, when you put an auto clutch in your bike, it is not exactly the same as it was before the Rekluse. It's nowadays with the new the EXP and the new Radius CX and all the really cool stuff that they got going on. They are so much better than they used to be. It's really close to just being a normal clutch that won't stall. I mean, their goal is to make it so that the clutch works just like a normal bike, normal clutch, but it won't stall. And they're really close to that now. But you do lose a little bit of the grip and the bang. I say Johnny Bruckbauer, I don't know if you're on here or not, but Johnny and I were talking about this. You lose a little bit of that snap bang that you get with a normal clutch. A lot of the I like old Kawasaki's too, Shane. By the way, Shane, have you seen the new video of Tomac riding a factory prepped KX252 stroke at his ranch in Cortez? Side note, that's awesome, by the way. Anyway, the Rekluse makes the bike different. You can, for us, what's the benefit of YZ250 diehards? Willie Watts. Sorry, Corbin's funny. So I like my YZ250 that I ride and love to death. I will not put a Rekluse in it. Period. I won't do it. Part of that comes from the fact that I want to keep it simple and cheap. I do. So if you guys have been watching on Facebook, of the Facebooks, you'll see that I do have a Rekluse clutch in it, but it's not an auto clutch. Chad Hucko. It is it's the manual clutch in my YZ250. So I will not put an auto clutch in my YZ250. I don't like it because when you do that, no matter which Rekluse you go with, whether it's the CX or the absolute top of the line, it still stiffens up the pull on the clutch lever just a little bit. It's way less than it used to be, but it definitely stiffens it up and makes it feel a little bit different. And for me, on my YZ, I clutch the heck out of it all the time because I'm fat and slow and I need to rev that thing to make it move forward. So for me, I won't run one in a YZ250. I know lots of people who do. They like them. I also... Husky always much different. Yeah. The YZ just, I don't know, it just doesn't... all the cable operated ones that I've used, I still don't like the way they feel. Again, that's a personal thing. That's how I am. Thank you, Cole, for asking for that again. That is my best impression of me riding my YZ250. And then there's a lot of falling after that and crashing. So yeah, I don't love it on. Shane McNabb, I love the manual clutch. I love the manual clutch. The thing about the new torque drive manual that they have for all bikes, hydraulically operated or cable operated, is that you get 50% more friction plates inside there. So, and that's the same with the Radius CX. YZ are like apple cider, stiff arm clutch, cable clutch. Yes. I lost my train of thought, you people. Anyway, but with all the new torque drive clutch packs, yes, I am making it to the Gold Rush this year. Maybe I wouldn't crash. That's not true, dude. I've had plenty of auto clutches and I crashed there too. Arguably, there's some times I've crashed with an auto clutch that I don't think I would have without an auto clutch. I can go into that later. But back to the torque drive clutch pack, which now is in all the Radius CXs, torque drive manuals, and now you can buy a torque drive pack for just about anything. The pancake it, yes, I pancake it everything. But I said you get 50% more plates. So if you have an 8 and 8, so 8 frictions, 8 steels, you end up with 12 and 12. By increasing the friction, the amount of friction surface, you can decrease the spring, which means you get the same bite or grip in the clutch with less pull, and it is beautiful. That torque drive, my YZ is sitting right there, and it's so pretty. It's just so beautiful. With that clutch pack, it is awesome. It's just, anyway, it's beautiful. You get a ton of bite, and the clutch feel is a lot lighter than even a stock YZ. I can only imagine on a hydraulic. I haven't used a torque drive manual or a Radius CX on a hydraulic bike yet. Javier's running one and absolutely loves it. So, and let me go back to my comment about it not feeling like a normal clutch. It doesn't, and I will argue that even on the Radius CX, it doesn't quite feel like it. Yeah, there you go. Even though I don't want one for me personally, the thing about the Radius CX, if you have someone who can set it up right, Javier and I do a really good job of that, I think, of getting the right springs and right weights in there. It's really, really close to it's super duper close to feeling like a normal clutch. John Hatch, try back with Rekluse to make my 500. Would like to hang on. Try one on my KX500. What do I think? I would be really careful on your KX500 because no matter what you do with the Rekluse, it's going to slip just a tiny bit before it engages. It's just the nature of them. I mean, it's just the way they are. I don't know how well they'll work on a big bore two-stroke. You can always try one. I mean, the very worst that happens is you wear out clutches. There's no big downside to it. So might be a good idea. So Scott mentioned the crashing. I wouldn't crash if I had an auto clutch. So I have a little story from a super duper rad guy named Eric Roden. Probably a lot of you guys know who he is. If you don't, look him up. He's our local hero. He's made main events in Endurocross. He's raced Romaniacs in the gold class. He's an absolute badass when it comes to motorcycles, dirt bikes, especially. I asked him when he went to Corbin. Okay, quick aside, I'll never own a Harley Davidson. I already did once. I had a Buell, which is basically a Harley. I'll never do it again. So when he went to Romaniacs, I asked him, "Oh, so you're getting a Rekluse for your rental bike?" And he's like, "No freaking way. No way am I putting a Rekluse on that bike." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Why? I mean, all that gnarly hard stuff, wouldn't you?" Well, he's like, "No. He's like, it is so steep and so nasty over there. You want to be able to, if you're not like Graham Jarvis and riding on the rear wheel up everything, you want to be able to dump the clutch. And yes, they do make auto clutches for Harleys, Shane. You want to be able to dump the clutch and have the bike stop. I mean, with a two-stroke, it arguably can still kind of roll back some, but because you're off the bike, like holding it on the side of a hill a whole bunch, and it's craziness. And so you don't want to, it's all about momentum. Yeah, Corbin's, anyway. And then like coming down things, you don't want that freewheeling, even on a two-stroke, which doesn't have a lot of engine braking. You don't want the bike to just freewheel when you let the thing out. So I don't know anybody running auto clutches in those really gnarly hard enduro stuff, and maybe there are. Well, actually, I'm sure there are. But I know the good guys aren't because of just that. That and the really good guys want the they want the snap. Hey, what's happening, Patrick Hemperly? Javier's at home. He's drinking coffee or something like that, or probably mate. But thanks for mentioning or saying things that made me think about coffee. So a lot of those guys that are really good at that stuff, they want that bike to snap just as hard as they can possibly get to snap, to be able to jump, splatter things, jump up things, wheelie over things, stuff like that. And so they don't want it. I personally don't want one in my own personal motorcycles because I want to get better, and not having a Rekluse in there makes you have to cover the clutch and have to use it, and I think it makes you a better rider to not have one. But on the flip side, here's where I think the Rekluse comes in, is absolutely perfect and a necessity. Well, okay, first is endurocross. If you're racing endurocross and you're taking it seriously, I think you really need to have a Rekluse in your bike, because those races are so short and the qualifying are so short. You only get 5 laps or something like that to make it to the night show, and then 5 laps to make the main. Bill Cook, you wore out your Rekluse on 5. Bill, chime in. What bike was that on? Let us know, and then we'll talk about that. But in endurocross, if you make a mistake and you stall your bike, your race is over. You're done. Like, you don't have time to make up for those mistakes. And Eric, the guy I was talking about, the super badass guy that went to Romaniacs and didn't run a Rekluse, always runs a Rekluse when he races endurocross. I think he does still. I know he did. I haven't talked to him about it too much, and I don't think he's been racing that very much. But FE 450 was yeah, I bet. Yeah, so anyway, for endurocross, I think they're absolutely necessary. John, I would put one on a bike for my wife so she doesn't kill herself. There you go. That's another thing. If you're just wanting to go trail riding and have fun with a big smile on your face, and you're not interested in, getting better, going faster, doing all this stuff, get a Rekluse, please. Buy one for months. I'll drop ship you one, actually. I would Jeep RPM when you're going down hills. Yeah, you have to keep the RPM up going down hills to keep engine braking. If you're used to using engine braking going down stuff, the Rekluse can be a bit of a thing. But if you set it up right, you'll never have that problem, honestly. Unless you just absolutely bring the back wheel to a stop before you go down a hill. If you set that Rekluse up right, it'll keep engaged and keep the engine braking on. But yeah, back to what I was saying. If you just want to go ride and have fun and purchase a little bit of talent so that the hard stuff is easier, then by all means, I fully 100% recommend a Rekluse. When I get older, I'm already kind of old, 43 by the way, and broken down. I got a bad hip. That's not awesome. Need to flip the throttle to engage. Yeah, they do, Bill. It's like I said, especially if you stop and bring the bike to an idle, they'll freewheel. But if you're on the gas going and you just let off the clutch, they don't freewheel. Again, if you have it set up the way we like to set them up. But when I get older and need diapers, like Corbin says, I'll absolutely have a Rekluse in my bike. I'll probably even have a 4-stroke at that point. Maybe not. Where can you purchase a lot of talent? You purchase some talent. Hey, Amal, what's happening, dude? How are you? You purchase some talent with your suspension, and now you can purchase a little more talent with a Rekluse. And it helps. It definitely helps a lot especially when you're tired and you just want to like twist the throttle and not do like that. It comes in super duper handy. Like I said, it's a personal preference. I think honestly, you should probably, if you're thinking about it, if you can find someone that has one, go ride it, see if you like it. It's definitely different. They make the bike feel different. That's all there is to it. There's no way around it. Just gonna say that. Oh, hey, quick thing. Before the end of the show, I'm gonna be giving away this stuff, and we will ship it wherever. So, got an answer hat, some stickers, and actually probably throw some other stuff in there in the box. So stay tuned. You're tired now. Stay tuned. We'll be giving that stuff away, so don't leave us yet. It's 7:57, so we're getting close to the end. Any other questions? Oh, by the way, I forget who was it wore one out on an FE 450. 450s and 5 miles of hell are hard on things, for sure. So you can't call dibs on the hack, Cole. You got to win it. We'll come up with that the way we win it here in a second. So you probably wore that. I don't know which version you had and all that stuff, but you probably wore that out because maybe the adjustment was a little off on the gap. Hey, Bradley Melton, what's happening? Or you had something else off. So just stay strong. There you go, Sam. Right on. I like it. I like it. Just stay strong. Absolutely. I seriously have no problems with Rekluses. Here's another quick story about Rekluses that, anyway, just a story. So I have a customer who he had a son that had, an 85 SX, and he's struggling up some of the gnarly stuff on the plateau. The clutch was all models and just the new ones. Hey, no worries, Amal. Amal, remind me. I'm just telling a thing real fast. So anyway, he had an 85 SX. Kid was struggling on some of the hard stuff on the plateau, and he's like, "I want to put a Rekluse in. I want to put a Rekluse." And I was like, "Dude, your kid needs to learn how to use a clutch. I don't think I would buy the Rekluse, and you're gonna put a glass ceiling over him, and it's gonna make him be able to get up some of those hills, but he's gonna not develop a lot of the talent that he needs, in my opinion, to use the clutch." And yeah, magnifies problems, absolutely. I think you absolutely can get it dialed in. Jacob, what's happening? Anyway, he bought the Rekluse for his kid, and all that did was I lost the sale of the Rekluse by telling him not to buy it. But we did install it for him. He bought the Rekluse. The kid has now moved up to a 252 stroke, and he's got a Rekluse in it. And just the other day, when his dad dropped the bike off for some maintenance and things like that, he said, "Man, I wish I could take this Rekluse out of this bike because he is just riding around with his hand on the bars and doesn't even cover the clutch. And he doesn't wheelie, he doesn't do the things you want." And I want to be like, "I told you so." So that is the problem with putting a Rekluse on someone's bike, that especially beginners, I really have a hard time with that. Like I said, it buys some talent, makes it a lot easier. Shane, your daughter loves her Rekluse. Absolutely, I'm sure they do. I personally think it gives them a disadvantage when it comes to learning how to actually use a clutch. And I think, in my opinion, that you need to know how to use a clutch, even if you've got a Rekluse. Amal, you can use the clutch on all the current Rekluses, all the way back to the EXP 2.0 core. I mean, even the old Z-Start Pro, you can still use the clutch, but it really sucked. It didn't feel like a clutch at all. As soon as they went to the EXP design, which is this style, no worries, Eric. You can always watch this later. When they went to this, the clutch feel got a lot better, and now it's even better with the Radius CX. It's really good. I mean, it really is really good. I just feel like that by putting that in someone's bike that doesn't really know how to ride, you're taking away a big piece of learning. Nicole Bradford, what's happening? You're taking a giant piece of learning away from them, and if they keep that Rekluse in there, they'll never really figure out how to use the clutch to wheelie. Yes, Amal, absolutely. We can get you any kind of Rekluse for your 2014. That's like no problem at all. Amal, your bike, the best one to get would be the Radius CX. I mean, it's $1,000, but it is the closest ever. So right on, Shane, that's awesome. It's the closest you'll ever get to a real clutch. So the Radius CX is awesome. Ain't nobody but me gonna put I don't know. I love this. I'm glad we're all having this discussion. Like I said, there's a lot of different views on this. A lot of people love them. A lot of people don't love them. I feel both ways, honestly, about them. I love and don't like them. So learning how to ride properly, their talent will be limited. I agree. I think that, like my kids, for instance, so my children, who I love very dearly, are both learning how to ride. They've been riding since they're tiny, so they're 3, and they're both on 2-strokes now. And I don't even talk about auto. They don't even know what an auto clutch is, honestly, because I'm going to make sure they know how to use a clutch and know how to wheelie over things and get power out of a bike when you're running out and all that stuff before I even let them know that something like that exists. I'm also not going to buy it for them because they're freaking expensive. And I think that you should have to earn that. So my kids will buy their own Rekluses if they want one. Again, let's go back over. I mean, because we're running out of time, I'm going to give away the hat and stuff here in just a second. Let's go over my personal opinions about Rekluses when they're good. So the places I think that Rekluse comes in super duper handy, Endurocross. I think you got to have one. The hair scrambles. Hang on, I want to see more here. Like, comment. Yeah, you do need to ride one, Cole. I would say if you can. They're awesome for so many reasons. They really are. But so here's the thing. Let me go back. Endurocross, they're phenomenal. You can't afford to stall a bike in Endurocross. You lose the race. Like there's no time to make up unless you're freaking Cody Webb, and he doesn't run one. So if you're just trail riding and you're having fun and you don't give 2 craps about what I'm saying or any of these other guys are saying, and you just want to purchase a little bit of talent and save some energy, absolutely get one. I fully agree with having one. If you just want to go trail riding and you just want to have fun and you want to be fresher at the end of the day and you're not worried about getting faster, you're not worried about all those things, then absolutely get a Rekluse. Buy one from me. Call me. I'll drop ship you one. We install them for free or for discounted rates if you buy them from us. So I really think that, I mean, like I said, we've sold a ton of Rekluses. I'll continue to sell them. I'm not going to tell anybody they shouldn't unless I absolutely believe it. So anyway, those are the 2 places I think they're awesome. Where I think they're not awesome, people learning how to ride, don't agree with it. Not at all. I think that people need to learn how to use a clutch. And I'm old school that way because I'm old. I don't think they're good for hard enduro because first of all, you need the feel and all that. Also, Rekluses do build a little more heat because they slip a little bit, and so you can overheat a bike a little bit earlier, not a whole lot earlier, but a little bit earlier. Chad is fast and uses a Rekluse. You guys all need to meet Chad. The so and again, I love it that people disagree with me. I don't care. It doesn't change my opinion, and I think it's good to have a discussion. So I think that's awesome. That's why we do this show. Plus and minus. It's just not to write with one, but short. Okay, there. Yeah, absolutely. There are tons of pluses and minuses to all you know, there's all this stuff. There's ups and downs. There's some just downs out there. But anyway, so hard enduro, no good. Learning, no good. If you want to really be, like, if you really want to get your skills up, no good. I don't think I think you need to learn how to use your clutch. So those are my personal opinions. Oh, also, I hate the old ones. I hate the old ones. The Z-Start Pro and earlier, can't stand them. The EXP and up, they're good. They're definitely good. All right. So, hey, you know what? I'm going to try something, Eric, since you're on here. I'm going to see if I want to do something. Cancel. I can't. I'm trying to. I like my comment. The 100 miles run is crush those of us without. Yeah, so Amal, absolutely. The 100. Where is the 100 miler, Shane? I forget. You told me. Make a. Yeah, Jason, that's a thing. If you don't, so what Jason mentioned is why the guys in hard enduro don't like it. When you're going up a really steep hill, whether it be technical and rocky or just really steep and loose, and you don't make it because you run out of talent, the wheels, whatever, you're going backwards really fast now with it like that, with the clutch out. Like, you can't just go dump the clutch and have the bike stay there. That doesn't work with a Rekluse. It's sketchy. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm with that is a sketchy thing. When I have run Rekluses before, I didn't really have too much of a problem with that. But yeah, I didn't have too much of a problem because I don't do a bunch of huge steep hill climbs. So anyway, that's my official opinion. And by the way, so I don't run one. There's not one. Amal, I think you would love one, dude. I think you would absolutely love one. For big long rides, like I said, your hands get tired. You get tired. I mean, like I said, a lot of people love them. Like I said, I don't have one. There's not one in our rental bike. I'm not going to put one in my kids' bikes. But flip side, Javier, who is arguably the best mechanic I've ever seen and the best suspension guy I've ever dealt with, who works with me here, loves his. So, and he's a freaking amazing rider. So, like crazy fast and good, and he absolutely loves his 100%. So there's two camps, and I'm in the no Rekluse camp on my personal bike. He's in the plus Rekluse camp. Amal, I think for big bore 4-strokes and stuff like that, they're totally awesome. So it is, it's not arguable. I agree. All right, gonna give away this stuff. So let's see. Here, for people who've been watching, whoever the first person to pop up in my feed to name the one racing discipline that I think you should have a Rekluse for. Name yes, Robert, that's him. Name the one racing discipline that I think you absolutely should have a Rekluse for, no matter who you are. I guess the pros. Endurocross, Elliot Rubin wins. Nice. Spencer, awesome. Thank you for tuning in. Elliot Rubin won. Elliot, message me your address. We will get this to you. You guys were all paying attention, so I'm glad. Also, so you guys are killing it. I love it. So here's the deal. This show, we just had the most people. Hey, Megan, Ann, what's happening? This show just had the most viewers I've ever seen. They got a little thing in the corner. So that is rad. That's because of you guys telling people and sharing it. So please, if you like what we're doing here, lots of thumbs ups, lots of shares, tell your friends, message your friends, do your social media stuff, and let people know that Thursday mornings we're doing Gospel of Two Wheels right here, Nobby Lobby. I would love it if someone would come and join me for a discussion. So if anybody wants to join me, yes, thank you, Matt. Please, Thursday morning, 7:30, I'll buy you a coffee and a donut, except for Corbin's girlfriend. Cable claim 66 in the left hand feels. Hang on. Sam. If you have time, hydraulic conversion for clutch, cable clutch. I'm 60. Oh, Sam, we can talk about that here in a second. Absolutely. Corbin, dude, please come here and it will be ridiculous. So next Thursday, Corbin Davis is going to join us. That will be hilarious. I'd like to sometime get some famous people. I mean, Corbin's kind of famous now. But if you guys like this show, please like it on Facebook, but then also share it and tell your friends. I'd like to get some famous people in here. Josh Hartler Road is late, but that's awesome. Anyway, I'd love to. We're just going to keep doing this. Send me messages or comment down here what you want to do for future episodes. I got some others coming up. I forget what's next, but I'll let y'all know. What was next? I forget. Okay. Dog's Bounty. Absolutely. Anyway, sorry. Sam, hydraulic thing for cable. I have personally used one on a YZ. No worries, Josh. Handlebars, good one, Corbin. Oh, we can do handlebars next week. We're going to do bars next week. We're going to do handlebars next week. So handlebars next week, Gospel Two Wheels, 7:30 a.m. Wiring. Oh, okay. I'm all good. I'm going to write that down. Hang on. I'm writing things down. Sam, I'm not forgetting about you. I'm going to get back to your question about the cable-operated hydraulic switchover GPS bars. Okay. Johnny Lee, that's what we're going to talk about. Flex. Oh, by the way, yours are on the way. Awesome. Amal, thank you. So, Sam, you asked about the hydraulic conversion for cables. I used one on a YZ. At first, I loved it. It was awesome. And then I hated it because the real problem was that so the Magura, I think, is the only one that's out there. Part of the problem that I didn't like was the fact that it's a tiny little reservoir, teensy tiny little reservoir full of fluid, and nice, Chris. Anyway, it's a tiny little reservoir full of fluid, and the way way any hydraulic thing works is just like brakes. It's not pistons pushing in on a clutch; it's a piston pushing out on the clutch. But as the clutch wears, the plates, it moves further and further out. And the fluid goes down to take up that space. Well, since it's a tiny reservoir, it runs out of fluid relatively quickly, and there's no window on it to see how much fluid's in there. And so usually what happens is you're going and you're riding, and all of a sudden an air bubble gets in there and your clutch won't disengage. So it sucks when that happens. You try to pump it back up and it works kind of whatever. And I just don't. Anyway, I took mine off because it was too. How do I? Unpredictable. There we go. Gosh, man, I need more coffee. I will give free stuff to the first person who brings me a cup of coffee here at the shop. Just black, please. Sam, I don't like the hydraulic conversion. I like to just keep it a cable and then do everything you can to make the cable pull. Discussion on okay, I can talk about coffee all friggin' day. There's lots of ways to make your cable easier pull. You can lengthen the arm. You can cut and then weld a longer arm onto the actuator. It gives it more leverage and makes it easier to pull. We do that here at the shop if you need that done. Also, new cable. Amal, I'm with you. Don't listen to Corbin totally. It is somewhat writer preference, but there's more scientific stuff about it. So you can lengthen that. A new cable is always nice. New lever, a lever with a bearing at the pivot is really good. So there's lots of ways to make cable pull better. I don't like the hydraulic thing. What lever do you like for the clutch? Shane, I use the Pro Taper one. So I'm going to go get it. 1 second, Shane. Hang on. I'll be right back. I'm coming back. I know it's weird. It's a live show where there's no guy. Profile right there. The Profile clutch lever. Shane, I really, really like this lever. So it's on my YZ. It's obviously not on the rental bike because that's... So Scott, here's the problem. The reason I do have a coffee pot here, and it just, anyway. I am such a freaking snob when it comes to coffee that I generally only use my super duper fancy Italian espresso machine. Yeah, that's the... that's like the one thing I spend money on. That and dirt bikes. I drive a really old beat up van. I don't get my hip fixed nearly as fast as I should, Scott. You know that. Yeah, I mean, look at this hat. It's dirty. I could have a new one. My shirt is now. Anyway, but I have a really nice coffee machine. So I'm kind of I'm a super coffee snob. But that lever, Shane McNabb, I love them. We have them, obviously. I could ship you one. I could also drop ship you one. I forget how much they are. Let's see, $69.99 for the perch and everything. Super easy adjustable and all that stuff. Anybody else have any other questions? By the way, this coffee that's in here is a Mexican bean from the Old Bisbee Coffee Roasters. 3 dirt bike hats. I know. What do you mean, who's the ugly girl? Oh, is that me? Thanks. Other questions about stuff? Remember, give us big likes, give us thumbs ups, share this stuff around, please. We're trying to do a good thing here. It is called, Shane McNabb, the Pro Taper Profile Clutch Perch Universal. Oh, by the way, October 24th, I think that's a Thursday, we are going to be, Corbin's giving a sad face. We're going to be doing a show on Pro Taper, and Pro Taper's, it's going to be awesome. They're going to tune in live with us and answer questions, and I might be able to bring them in. I'm going to see if let me see if I can bring camera. Let's see if this works. This is good. We're just hanging out, doing things. Corbin, hit the yes button or whatever on your phone. Any other? Hey, there's. So, that's Corbin Davis, the world famous Corbin Davis, smack talker.
Underdog bounty hunter.
Yeah. Yes. Denver Thor, Pro Taper bars don't bend. They are tough. Yeah, absolutely. Pro Taper bars are awesome. I have seen them bend.
No, it's about Pro Taper.
Yeah, that's your hard hat, Corbin, not bars.
It's like the same thing, but only different.
Corbin, are you at work right now?
Yeah.
So can everybody else see Corbin and how goofy he looks? I just want to know because I'm actually going to bring in the Pro Taper guy on the screen. Anyway, all right, Corbin, I hate to do this, but I'm going to cut you off. Thank you so much, though. Actually, I really appreciate it. Right on. I hope everybody enjoyed. Yeah, bring me a muffin. Hope everybody had fun. I know we ran long. We always do. Yeah, get the kids to school. You bet. I hope everybody had a great day. I hope you have a wonderful time today. I hope you get out and ride. If you're in this valley, we're riding tonight. I'm riding even with the bad hip and everything. It's going to be wicked because it rained and now it's not raining. And anyway, it's going to be awesome. I really hope everybody has an awesome day. Find something to be thankful for today. If you're having a bad day, be grateful. It's awesome. I'm grateful for the rain, Highland Cycles, and all of you people for joining us here at the Gospel of Two Wheels. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I guess the last thing I have to say is go ride your dirt bikes!